Good morning, everybody. We're in Illinois, headed down to Tennessee to pick up the load. There, we're going to North Carolina. Earlier this summer, I was concerned about how the corn was looking. I'll say this, looks strong and healthy now. Got enough rain this spring that looks like they'll have a strong harvest. Looks like the soybeans are doing pretty well too.
Speed limit reduced ahead.
And as far as my ELD going off in the background, which is what you just heard, ignore that. We, well, not just my carrier, but PeopleNet had a malfunction a couple of days ago that knocked out multiple carriers across the United States and Canada. And from what I understand, the issue in Canada is still ongoing because that ties into cell phone carriers up in Canada. So my ELD is not accurate. It thinks I'm out of hours. I'm on paper. I'm not out of hours. I'm good. It'll all get sorted out. So you're going to hear that buzzing noise in the background every 10 to 15 minutes if I'm running the camera. Like I said, it thinks I'm out of hours, so it's going to sit there and go, hours of service violation. No, good. We're on US 67 headed south. Got about 300 miles before we get to our shipper. We'll do a drop and hook there. And I'm going to do a little clip on the truck. There's some explanation that needs to go into the truck. Because last week I did a video about the fact that I was getting abnormal tire wear and a shake in the steering that I couldn't explain. Well, the truck's been in the shop, that's all been sorted out, and I want to explain what was found. I'll do that at the shipper when I do my drop and hook. Alright, we're a little bit further down the road. We're in Bloomfield, Missouri. And looks like we got to hit this chicken coop real quick. I'm empty, so I'm not worried about weight. Now, to explain what just happened in that scale house, I don't have a visor on the truck, so there's no obstruction of view. The DOT officer, as I drove by, waved at me and gave me a signal that looked like keep rolling. Okay? Yes, I saw the sign that said stop your steer axle here. He changed the light to red after I rolled past that. He spoke. I had leaned forward and I watched the light change. So he made it seem like I was just going to roll right on through, which I'm empty. You can clearly see I'm empty. I'm empty with less than half a tank of fuel on both the reefer and the truck. There is no weight to account for. Now, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but he was a bit snarky over the speaker about me stopping. And as soon as I stopped, he flipped it back to green and we're on our way. There are a number of DOT that are absolutely cool and wouldn't have bothered with that. I would not have been surprised if he told me to pull it around back for a level 1. Just because. But he didn't. We're still rolling. It is what it is. But still. That smacks of a DOT officer that's looking for a reason to nail you. They do exist. I will not take that away from a number of drivers who have nothing but ill to speak of DOT. In a scale house like that, he's probably bored out of his gourd sitting there doing nothing. The only truck that was out there was the Schneider that you saw sitting out in the back lot. And me. That's when you start finding a DOT officer that's looking for something to do, such as level 1s. Or any kind of inspection for that matter. But I legitimately could not see the lights. So, yeah. It wasn't a matter of me not paying attention. It's just I couldn't see the lights. Good morning, everybody. So, I wanted to go over the repairs that were done to the truck, explain what was found, what was done. As you can see where I marked tread wear. It's not wearing anymore, it's wearing straight. Same's true on this side, although you can see a little bit of shoulder wear that's residual. Turned out that spring plate cut. Turned out that spring pin bushing back there is what caused the problem. Bushing was shot, whole spring was shaking from side to side. As far as the drive tire is concerned, that one was toast. I'll insert a picture of what it looked like when I got to the shop. They just replaced it with an equivalent tread. so that it matches everything around it. So the fix was spring pin bushing and 3-axle alignment. So you may be asking, I do a pre-trip on this truck every day. I'm supposed to know my equipment inside and out. How is it I couldn't identify this issue? Well, for a shake in the front end, there's about a dozen different things that could cause that issue and the tire wear. Bad pitman arm bushings, bad shocks, bad spring pin bushings, bad tie rod ends, tires out of round, wheels out of round, tires out of balance. The list goes on. I walked into the shop. I listed off all of these things. They have the tools to be able to check this stuff. I don't. At which point it's their job to figure out which option it is. And it turned out to be a spring pin bushing. Out here on the road, you've got to know your way around the truck mechanically. You've got to know what you're looking at. You've got to know how to diagnose problems so that when you take it into the shop, you make their job easier. But that doesn't mean you have to be an ASE certified mechanic. You can tell them, hey, this is what I think it might be. But at the end of the day, whether you're dealing with Loves, TA, Petro, dealership, company shop, at the end of the day, it's their job to figure out what it really was. Now, alternatively, if you are mechanically inclined and you do know how to fix these, which I do, I just don't have the tools to do it. At that point, it's not the mechanic's job to do the troubleshooting. It's your job. That's what a lot of owner-operators do, is they know that there's an issue with their truck. The owner-operator fixes their own truck. Saves them on maintenance costs. That's what I plan on doing. And there will be a series of videos on here at some point, I'm sure, where I go through and I fix things. But if you're a company driver, you cannot do self-repair. It's an insurance liability. And a lot of times there are owner-operators that simply have a mechanic do it for that insurance liability safety protection. Ultimately, it's your choice. But when you walk in to talk to a mechanic, you've got to know what you're talking about. Which means you do have to actively do pre-trips. You do have to actively know the parts, know what they're doing, how it works, so that you can identify the problem. And it will make your life a lot easier.